Hey there, it's me, JR. Three Things with JR. It's back, episode 95. Recording this on Monday, May 30th, 2022, Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day, everybody. Seems like a weird way to say it, since Memorial Day memorializes those who died fighting for our country. So, is it supposed to be a happy day? I don't know. I know that it's not the day to question the wars our country has fought. It is the day to memorialize the brave men and women that have given their lives fighting in the name of America. You were braver, tougher, and made of better stuff than I. I salute you. So yeah, take a moment to think about those that we've lost to the horrors of war fighting in the name of America. All right. So, what do we talk about on Memorial Day doing an episode of my podcast? Well, I got a bunch of things. I'm kind of figuring out. People ask me, what's your podcast about? And it's basically whatever I feel like talking about that day. Sometimes I have a script that I read. Sometimes I just have some bullet points. Sometimes I've got almost nothing and it's just whatever's on my mind. Today's more of a bullet point day, but I got a bunch of bullet points. There's a bunch of things. I'm not changing the name of the show to like 16 things, but I got a bunch of things. And if I were to try to categorize the show, I think I would tell people that it's basically all of the things that people say on Facebook that I would say on Facebook if I didn't choose to say them here instead. Instead of typing them out on Facebook and updating my status with whatever's on my mind right now, instead I save it all up and I talk about it into a microphone to you. So there you go. If you want to know about me, this is it. The burp is back. I'm leaving that one in. It was nice. It was short. It was quick. Those of you that listened last week might be wondering how my dog Scherzer is doing. He was doing really good. So 1 week ago yesterday, he was attacked by a pit bull at a park, minding his own business, peeing on a log, attacked by a pit bull named Blue that was listed as a dangerous dog, actually. Found that out later. And he was definitely a dangerous dog. And he did not have his muzzle on as he should have, and then what he did was run over and attack Scherzer. And I thought he was a gunner, but he wasn't. Scherzer's got some stitches. He's healing up and taking a lot of drugs, antibiotics, and pain meds. And there were days this last week where he was putting weight on that leg that is injured. But what happened? Yesterday, I noticed his leg was swelling up really bad, significantly bigger and thicker and kind of puffy compared to the other front leg, and called the vet, sent him some pictures. We agreed to bring him in the next day, which would have been today in the afternoon. Didn't seem super urgent. I did notice after that it was starting to drain. Now, I'm going to tell you right here, if you're grossed out by things like this, I am going to describe everything in its entirety. So might stop listening if you're grossed out by that stuff, but here it comes. So it was starting to drain. I noticed wherever he was laying, there'd be little like puddles of like bloody pus and such. And I was like, that's gross. So the vet recommended warm compresses. I'd already been doing that once a day. I now was doing it more often yesterday and yesterday evening. We went to go upstairs after watching a movie, and right before we did, I put the warm compress on, and I was just giving him love after loads of love, just petting him and just, warm compress on the wound that looked like it's healing, other than the fact that this leg was all swollen. So then we came upstairs, and I was on my computer doing some stuff last night, and I look over, and I notice right there on the floor next to this chair I'm sitting in right now, he's got the cone on, the cone of shame to keep him from licking his wound. Instead, what he's licking is a puddle of blood and pus that has drained out of his leg and all over the floor, and he is lapping it up like he loves it. And I had to sort of stop him from doing that. I went and got a warm compress. I went and tried to put it on him, and he now apparently is in pain. So 2 hours before, no pain, touch it all you want. 2 hours later, don't touch it. I'm bleeding and pus is coming out and it's disgusting, but do not touch me. Yelping and screaming and trying to bite me anytime I got near him. So I left it alone, got him into his bed, went to bed. This morning we wake up and he is jumping up into the bed, not because he's happy, but because something is wrong. Kiki tries to pet him and he's like, no, do not touch me. Anywhere, not the leg, don't pet my head, don't touch my back, don't scratch me, no nothing, don't touch me, I will tear your head off. So clearly in a lot of pain this morning. So we took him to the vet first thing, 8 a.m., brought him in and got him into a room. The doctor comes in, and at this point, an hour or two later, I am able to pet him. I'm scratching him on his back, petting him on his head. He lays down. He kind of turns sideways so we can see his belly. I don't want to scratch his belly because it's too close to where it might hurt. And then we notice this huge bulging abscess right in the middle of where some of the teeth marks are. And we're like, oh my gosh, Kiki's there, I'm there. We're like, oh wow, that's new. And then the doctor reaches down to touch it. Scherzer moves. That thing burst right in front of all of our eyes. And oh my God, if you like watching pimple popping videos, this was the ultimate. It was amazing. So much blood and pus, a puddle, a square foot wide. I mean, it was huge on this very nice doctor waiting room floor. Anyway, the doctor was like apologizing. We're like, no, don't apologize. I think that probably helped just now make him a little less painful. But long story short, we left him there today. They went into what they, it was just one wound stitched up. They removed the drain last week. And clearly there's still some drainage to happen. So they went in further. They've inserted multiple drains. They've removed some ugly, maybe infected tissue. And he's going to be at the vet for a few days. So I don't have a dog right now. Like for a couple days. It's life without a dog. And it's a little weird not having to think about where he's at, what he's doing. Does he need to go out? Is he hungry? Does he need a treat? He's not here reminding me that I'm supposed to be petting him at all times. It's kind of funky not having Scherzer around. And I don't like it. I wish he was around. I do love my little guy. In last week's show, I talked about how quickly my mind accepted the idea that he was a goner because it really looked like he was a goner. And how, something about me, once I knew that was going to happen, I'm okay. Like, I get it. Circle of life, time to move on. Where's the silver lining? I'm okay with it. I wouldn't be happy about it, but I would be immediately able to see the benefits to me. Maybe it's selfishness. My mom and my sister tell me that maybe it's Buddha thing. I don't know anything about Buddhism, but apparently acceptance of things like that is a thing. So maybe, I don't know, but yeah. So if you're curious though, for a long time, my attitude towards dogs has always been, as long as I can remember, I would not spend lots and lots of money to, say, save a dog's life. If a dog was dying of cancer or had something horribly wrong with it, and the vet was like, all right, we can save him, but it's going to cost $3,000. I'm like, no, that's not me. I wouldn't do that. I would say, what are our other options? Putting him down is something I would absolutely do instead of spending that kind of money. And dog lovers, pet lovers everywhere probably don't like that I would feel that way, but I do. And, there's that. So I've always been that way. Now, faced with some pretty big vet bills right now. We're already well over $1,000, heading towards $2,000 with these new developments. And the lady that owns Blue, the pit bull, is agreeing to pay for it. That's not a guarantee that she's going to pay for it. So I have to decide, am I willing to spend this money to fix my dog or not? Because I can't assume I'm definitely getting paid for it. I have to make this decision as if it were me spending my own money that I will not get paid back from. If I do get paid back, great. Bonus, gravy. But I'm making these decisions based on, if I don't get paid back, just in like worst case scenario. And my reaction today when the doctor was like, so we're going to have to sedate him. We're going to have to do this. We're going to have to do that. We're going to do some laser. We're going to do some hydro. We're going to take care of him. He's going to be all right. I said, do whatever it takes. I've got credit cards. I've got an available balance. I'll figure out how to pay for it. Let's do it. Now it's not really it's not looking like it's life threatening. It's really just victim of bad luck, accident, emergency sort of stuff. And what can you do? So what I do, I pay in the money. If I get paid back, awesome. And the lady that owns Blue we've made arrangements as of today to meet where she is apparently going to give me some cash. She's old-fashioned. She said she doesn't write checks. She also doesn't know how to do Venmo, PayPal, Zelle, or any of those other electronic payment methods. I said, well, if you just want to meet and give me cash, that's fine too. She said, yeah, let's do that. So it's not going to be all of it. She's going to make payments, which is fine. But apparently she's making payments. So we'll see how that goes on Friday. That's how the dog's doing. Apparently I will spend money for my dog so that he gets better and that I get to still have him around. So there you go. Scherzer update for you. Since the last time I spoke to you, my band, To Be Fair, went into a studio and recorded some songs. So we did this last Thursday at Mountainside Studio. Was it Mountainside? Mountain View? I probably should know the name of the studio. I'm pretty sure it's Mountainside. And it's a friend, James McLaughlin. I played disc golf with him. Found out he's got a studio, was at his house one day, gave me a tour of the studio as it was being almost completely built, and was impressed, loved the place, loved the guy, and told my band I think we should record there, and they agreed, and the price was right. So, boom, we went in and laid down 2 songs, including all the drums, rhythm guitar, and bass in basically live, no overdubs, no fixing any of that stuff. And then Gary laid down some lead guitar, lead vocals. I laid down some backup vocals. Brian laid down some backup vocals. And then to finish the day, the Fairettes came in. The Fairettes. To be fair, the Fairettes came in. And the Fairettes is made up of Gary's daughter, Adrian, and my daughter, Allison. And they came in having never heard these songs before at all. And basically, Gary sort of showed him on the piano what he wanted him to do for backup vocals, and they went into the vocal booth and nailed it. So we are looking at sometime in the next week or so. You don't want to rush it, but sometime in the next week or so, getting a rough mix of what all that sounds like. And then we can start to, put the real mix down and master it and get it out. We'd love to see these 2 songs out sooner than later. And I mean, we're not trying to waste any time here. We want these songs out so you can listen to them, stream them, send them to your friends. One of them is it would be really nice to have it out during the month of June, which, as I understand it, is Pride Month. And there's there's a reason. You'll hear it in the lyrics. I'm not even going to tell you what they're called yet. We're going to save all of that for when these songs come out. You guys have not heard them yet. They are brand new, To Be Fair songs. All right, we're going to take a short break. We'll come back, and I'm going to do the rest of the things I've got on this list. Happy Memorial Day, everybody. Be back in a minute.
Nothing I can say. Change your mind and stay. So I'll see you later today.
And we're back. I'm going to start this off with a recommendation. I sent a text to the guys in my band to check out this YouTube channel. I thought, why just them? I should tell everybody. I forget where I heard this recommendation. I probably heard it on a podcast. I think I might have heard it on the podcast called Pop Culture Happy Hour. It's a NPR podcast where they review pop culture, movies, books, TV shows, songs, anything and everything pop culture. And they do a segment called What's Making Me Happy this week. And this YouTube channel that I'm about to recommend was making somebody happy. I think that's where I heard about it. And I went and checked it out. And yeah, it's a deep, dark hole. It's a guy named Pat Finnerty. He lives in Philadelphia. He plays music. He's in a band. He's not super famous himself, but he's on the way to being a household name with his YouTube channel, where he tells you what makes this song stink. He's got a whole series of videos. There's 6 episodes out now. What makes this song stink are the videos that I want you to check out. They are long. The shortest one is about 20 minutes. The longest one more like 45 minutes. And I do suggest you watch them in order because clearly he's learning as he goes about making YouTube videos and all the things you got to do in today's world if you are a YouTuber, which he now is a YouTuber with over 100,000 subscribers. But he's basically going to break down some songs that you've absolutely heard before. And you might even sing along with them. You might love some of these songs, and that's okay. You can still love them after he tears them apart. For example, episode 5 takes the song Hey Soul Sister by Train and rips it to shreds in such an epic way. It's amazing. This guy's hilarious, really, really good at putting a video together that is entertaining. He's fun to just watch him talk and listen to him. I mean, he's fantastic, and he took this one to like another level. But I don't think you should go watch that one first. You certainly can. I can't stop you, but I really think you'll benefit from starting with episode 1 and letting it build all the way to episode 6. And he's taken on some big bands: Weezer, Train, Red Hot Chili Peppers. What? Kid Rock, Lenny Kravitz. Like, he's ripping apart some songs, and I'm still going to listen to those songs, the ones that I like anyway, and it's okay. This is just a fun bit of YouTubing. So he does a series of shorter videos that are not going to take all day to watch called Little Stinkers. Those are great too. I highly recommend him. Pat Finnerty, What Makes This Song Stink, on YouTube. Go find him, check it out. Be prepared to, at the end of one long episode of this, What Makes This Song Stink, to go, wow, that was long, but worth it. That was great. I don't have time to watch another one. And then the next one just like auto plays on YouTube, and you're like, oh, I guess I'm watching another one. And it sucks you in pretty fast. So be careful, but do go check out Pat Finnerty on YouTube, What Makes This Song Stink. Memorial Day has always been a big deal for me, as long as I can remember. Well, maybe not as long as I can remember. Since I was 9 or 10. When I was 10, my family moved to Falls Church, Virginia, onto a little street called Greenwich Street. And Falls Church, for those that don't know, is this tiny little 2.2 square mile municipality. It's a little town, little city, surrounded by Fairfax and Arlington counties and the rest of the D.C., Maryland, and Virginia mess, right? But it has this great little small town feel. I was allowed to ride my bike all over the place, go to the store, ride it up to the rec center, ride my bike to school. I mean, it was It was wonderful. I had a great childhood in Falls Church. And one of the greatest things every year was Memorial Day weekend. Obviously, the day off of school was nice, but Falls Church does it up right. Memorial Day is a big deal in this small town. Right on our street, right out in front of my house, they would have floats lined up for the big Memorial Day parade. I walked out and like, what is going on? And there's right down like a block away, there's a ton of floats and parade people, bands, the marching drummer bands and, whoever else had a float. I don't know, the Patriots, things like that. Not the football team, but the drum and fife kid thing. Somebody knows what I'm talking about, I'm sure. But it was great. And then this was when we first realized, whoa, hold on, Memorial Day is a big deal here. And so we made our way up to like the city hall where the rec center and the police department and everything is. And wow, look at this. There's a huge festival going on with food and funnel cakes and shish kebabs and arts and crafts for sale and like big bounce houses and stuff. Like it is a big deal. What I didn't realize is early in the morning, like 7 a.m., if you get out there early, you can run in the Don Beyer 3K Fun Run, which is a mapped out course. The way I found out about that was it was the next day. Like my first Memorial Day in Falls Church, I had no idea that everybody in town had gotten up way earlier than I had, and met up at the rec center and ran 3 kilometers, and everybody got a t-shirt. I found out because I noticed the next day at school, everybody was wearing the same t-shirt. And I was like, what is the deal with these t-shirts? And they explained it. And that's when I knew next year I'm going to run in the 3K Fun Run because I can't be the one kid without that t-shirt. It always had the picture of the pigs on the back. If you know anything about Don Beyer Volvo, and you probably don't know much unless, well, some of you know everything, but Don Beyer Volvo is obviously a Volvo dealership inside the city of Falls Church, run by or owned by Don Beyer, who was also like the lieutenant governor of Virginia. Big deal, big. Everybody seems to know who Don Beyer is in Virginia. Well, this was his Volvo dealership, and he sponsored this fun run, and it had his dealership's logo on the back. And outside of his dealership is this like statue made of metal with the farmer like feeding his pigs, and the pigs are always in the t-shirt. So, and it's always a different color, and there's always a new design, and it was a thing. Every single year, who got the t-shirt? You had to run 3K, and I did. Every single time, even when I was fat, I would run it. When I was skinny, I would run it. When I was young, when I was old, if I was in Falls Church today, I would have run in the 3K Fun Run. It wouldn't have been very fun, but I would have done it for a t-shirt that they don't even offer in 3XL, which is the size t-shirt I wear now. I wouldn't even have gotten a t-shirt that I could wear and be comfortable. I can rock a 2X if I have to, but it's going to accentuate the wrong parts of my midsection. I need a 3XL for it to fit nice and loose, for me to feel comfortable, and for it to look better. Everybody wins when I wear a 3X. Nobody wins when I wear anything smaller. So anyway, I wouldn't have been able to wear the t-shirt, but I would have run anyway. And that shirt would have gone into a drawer or a bag in my closet, and it would have stayed there until I lose some weight. So there you go. So that was always a part of Memorial Day. The 3K Fun Run, the parade, the festival. It was a big deal. We had blankets set out in the grass, so we would always get our favorite seats so we could see the parade. We loved it when the schools, when their marching bands would come through, especially the drum corps. Lots of Latino countries coming in with big dance troupes and stuff, doing some crazy dance numbers. One year, my history class had a float in the parade where we were handing out the Bill of Rights to everybody along the side of the street. That was a fun Memorial Day weekend. Man, there's some things I don't know if I should tell you about that we did that Memorial Day weekend. I was a junior or senior in high school. Miss Nolan's history class. We were learning about American history, obviously, and we did a float. We built a float. We built it on the school grounds in this little sort of weird little alcove in the buildings where you couldn't be seen from the street. There was no road that goes to it. It's like behind a big section of building, like in between two sections of building where there's this little courtyard where people would put their bikes and lock them up when they rode their bikes to school, things like that. And we built the float there, and then somebody picked it up in their vehicle, drove it across the grass, and took it over to the parade. My friend Darren and I, Darren, I hope you don't mind that I'm telling everybody this, but I believe statute of limitations is up, and we've told plenty of people anyway, so buckle up. It's not that big a deal. But we had acquired a bottle of alcohol. I do remember that it was Seagram's 7. I don't even know what that is. Like, is it whiskey? Is it rum? Vodka? I mean, seriously, I have no idea what that is. I don't know my alcohol. Might be fixing that on an upcoming episode, but I still don't know what Seagram's 7 is. I know it tasted okay. It wasn't horrible. I know that Darren and I parked our cars back there and told our teacher we were going to do that, and we offered to keep watch over the parade float that we had been building all day on Sunday. Memorial Day was the next day, and we were worried, obviously, that somebody was going to come damage the float. So we said, hey, we'll keep an eye on it. And we did. And we drank an entire bottle of Seagram's 7. And then this was literally the first time I had ever been drunk. And we proceeded to experience being drunk for the first time on school grounds, guarding our parade float. And we locked our keys in like Darren's glove compartment so that we couldn't, even if we wanted to, go drive around. And then we had to break into his glove compartment the next morning to get our keys so that we could go drive once everything had worn off. And then that next day, we didn't go right to the, I think I skipped the fun run that year. We didn't go right to the festival and the parade. We went to, with a bunch of other folks, we went up to a, we might have done this after the parade. Sometime on Memorial Day, we went over to this bridge in D.C. that goes over the C&O Canal, which runs parallel to the Potomac River. There's this old train track bridge that's now just a walking path bridge, and we jumped off of it into the C&O Canal, which is only about 8 feet deep right there, and it's murky brown water. It's gross, but it was a thing. We did that, so that was fun. Nobody got hurt. We were all good. That was probably my favorite Memorial Day growing up in Falls Church, all of that. Something else you should know about our Memorial Day parade. If you're a Howard Stern fan, you've heard of this woman. Her actual name is Susan Muldowney. She goes by, she's known to Howard Stern fans as Underdog Lady. I heard of her first on Howard Stern in like 10th grade-ish, something like that. They had been talking about Underdog Lady. And then I heard that she was at the parade one year. I didn't know she was at the parade. I missed it. But apparently she was a mainstay. Like every single year, Susan Muldowney came to Falls Church, Virginia, and was a exhibit in the parade. Now, the parade, I didn't know this until then. The parades have judges. And people are awarded for best floats and best marching bands and best this, best that. And Susan Muldowney was always vying for winning her category of act or whatever it was in the parade. And she sometimes won, but most of the time didn't. And I think she was always going for it. But I found out that she came to our Falls Church parade. By the next day, people were talking about how no longer the vendors at the festival sold these little poppers, right? These little things, the little tiny white teardrop looking things like paper. You take them out of a little box, you throw them on the ground. As soon as they hit the ground, it's like boom, they pop, like a little bit of gunpowder or something. And they're fun. They're just a great little fun little thing. Apparently, they're not fun for Susan Muldowney when all the kids on the side of the parade route are throwing them out at her feet and scaring the bejesus out of her. She did not like that at all, kind of freaked her out, sent her into tears. I don't know if she finished the parade or what. I was not a part of this. I heard about it the next day. I'd like to think I wouldn't have participated in that, but I might have. It sounded mean, but it also sounded like you didn't think it was going to be mean until it was, and I probably would have thought it was fun until it wasn't, and then I would have felt bad. That's probably what I would have done, but I didn't. I wasn't a part of it. So now knowing that Susan Muldowney, Underdog Lady, was always a part of our parade, I always made sure to seek her out, to see her, because it was a connection, right? It was a connection to Howard Stern and the Howard Stern Show, which I'm a big fan of, always have been. So to see her was like, oh my gosh, there's Underdog Lady. That's all it was for a long time. Until one year when I had the opportunity to drive her to the metro station. She was standing there at the end. The parade's all over. She's standing there listening to them announce the winners of the different categories. She didn't win, but as she was standing there, I just started talking to her. I went over and said, "Hi, Susan, how are you? I loved what you did this." She wasn't always Underdog. She would dress up as some sort of, animated superhero like Underdog and dance in this weird sort of way. She was a weird lady, like probably has 13 cats at home kind of lady. And she's a little plump. She's always got this red face because it was usually hot and sunny on Memorial Day. Well, one year I started talking to her, and I didn't really tell her I was a Howard Stern fan. By this point, she had become, she didn't appear on the Howard Stern Show anymore. She didn't like him at all, especially because people that listened to him and then saw her would say mean things like Baba Booey, Howard Stern's penis, things like that. She didn't like that stuff. She was a very religious person. So I didn't even talk about Howard Stern at all. I just started talking to her, and she was distraught. She hadn't won her prize, and she needed a ride because she needed to get back home. She needed to get on the metro, to get to the train station, to make the train, to get back home to New Jersey. So I said, "I'll be glad to give you a ride. It's faster than walking." She's like, "Oh, would you?" And I absolutely gave Susan Muldowney a ride. I had my truck parked in a strategic little parking area that my family knew of. So I got her in the truck and drove her to the metro station. And I felt so good about being able to do that. And I didn't even bring up Howard Stern once, even on the drive. I didn't talk about him. I didn't let her know anything about the fact that I knew her from the Howard Stern Show. I just saw a woman in need, and I thought she needs some help. And I wanted to meet her anyway. And she was every bit as weird as I thought she would be. When she got out of my truck and went running into the metro station, her cape was flowing behind her. She seriously looked like a crazy person, but a sweet, well-meaning crazy person for sure. So yeah, Susan Muldowney, Underdog Lady. Look her up. I'm sure there's YouTube videos galore on this lady. And find her on Howard Stern. You'll hear what I'm talking about. Motorcycles have always, maybe not always, but for a long time, they've been a part of my Memorial Day experience. Ever since my dad got a motorcycle and my Uncle James got a motorcycle, they would go down to the Pentagon parking lot with their motorcycles and ride in the Memorial Day Run for the Wall, Rolling Thunder. Hundreds of thousands of people with their Harleys, mostly Harleys, would park in the Pentagon parking lot, and then they would release them to ride down Constitution Avenue and come back up Independence. I might have those road names backwards, but anyway, they went around the mall where the Vietnam War Memorial is. It was all about the people that were MIA, KIA in Vietnam, and that was the inspiration for Rolling Thunder. It doesn't happen anymore, but it did there for a long time, and my dad and my uncle were a big part of it. I never got to ride my motorcycle in the actual Rolling Thunder. Once my dad got a second bike, we went out for some rides on Memorial Day, but never part of that. But I did ride my bike down to the mall, and was down there where there's not only the people riding their motorcycles in the Rolling Thunder, there's also another couple 100,000 people with their Harleys parked along these roads on the side, watching and cheering and, things like that. So I rode down and hung out with those people, watched my dad, my uncle roll by. I got on my mountain bike and I rode with the motorcycles all the way down Constitution and then all the way by the Capitol and then back up Independence. Again, I might have those road names backwards. But either way, I rode the entire parade route for Rolling Thunder on a mountain bike. And let me tell you, those guys on Harleys, not impressed. Not impressed at all. They did not think that that was the way to do it. So either way, I had fun. They got over it. And now I have a motorcycle. So I do ride my motorcycle on weekends. More recently, Darren, my friend Darren and I, we took bikes up to Niagara Falls and rode all around New York, western New York, out there by Buffalo, Niagara Falls, then across the state and down into New York City and Jersey and Philly and Annapolis and DC and back home. That was a fun motorcycle ride on Memorial Day. So, yeah. This Memorial Day, what did I do today other than take my dog to the vet and watch his abscess burst? What I did today was not part of the plan. It was not. I had a big weekend planned. This whole weekend was, Saturday and Sunday at least, was going to be a disc golf tournament. I was planning to play a 2-day tournament in Culpeper. I was psyched. I was pretty excited about it. And then Scherzer got attacked by a pit bull a week prior. And so all disc golf tournament plans are gone. I haven't played disc golf now in well over a week. It's kind of sucks. But I might get to play some soon. So anyway, I needed something to do that did not involve going out and leaving Scherzer at home. He hates being left home alone. And with him in his fragile state, I didn't think that was a good idea. So I'd been thinking that my car and my truck both needed a good cleaning. Our garage has been getting super cluttered. That needed a good cleaning. And the house probably needed to be cleaned, bathrooms and such. So that's what I did this weekend. Saturday was house day. I started with the house. I was the least excited about cleaning the house, so I started with that one to get the worst part out of the way. Saturday, it's all about hanging up clothes and folding and washing and scrubbing and mopping and sweeping and all of that. All day Saturday. And when I say all day, I mean I got up at like 12:30 in the afternoon and worked for like 4 or 5 full hours cleaning the house. So big deal. Saturday, I was exhausted. And then Sunday, I woke up early, like 11 o'clock, and got a head start, and I washed my car like I've never washed a car before. Literally, I removed everything from the car, vacuumed and scrubbed every surface, shined every surface, hand washed the outside. Absolutely gorgeous. Then I got the truck out and I cleaned the interior of the truck myself. Then I went into a car wash in town, got the exterior clean on the truck. It's just a beater truck at this point. It's rusting, things like that. So I didn't really give it the external love that I gave my car. But yeah, so house clean, cars clean, garage was next. This was going to be the biggest job yet. I had set an alarm to get up super early. And when I say super early, I'm talking 10:30 in the morning. I was going to get up to make sure I had time to do the garage today. And then Scherzer jumped in the bed and woke us both up and in pain. So I ended up awake and showered at 7:30, taking the dog to the vet, and now I've got the entire day to do the garage. Wow, awesome. It took the entire day. I did not finish until like 5 p.m., but that garage has been transformed. Everything's been rearranged. I got room to move now. I can pull the motorcycle in and out. There's not shit all over the floor. I've got a pile of stuff to take either to donate or to the landfill or both. But man, it's just so nice. And my reward after all of that was to hop on the motorcycle, which I haven't ridden in a while, and go out for a ride. Rode for like an hour on some backcountry roads, let it loose on some pavement, got squirrely on some gravel roads, and man, it was just super nice. So, seems weird. Certainly was weird for me. I've never had a Memorial Day weekend like that, cleaning all of the time and actually kind of excited to do it. But I did, and I loved it, and I'm glad everything is clean. And now, when I'm done with this podcast, I'm going to go actually do some laundry. Like, I still have laundry to do, but I'm excited to do it. It's weird. I don't know what's happening to me. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. I've never been like this. Are you still listening? Are you still with me? If you're still there, I'm shocked because I am just rambling about my life. And if you're not related to me or a good friend of mine, I don't know why you're still listening, but God, thank you for being here. I've got a few more things to tell you. One is a recommendation. The new Black Keys album, Dropout Boogie, is pretty awesome. I am a big fan of the Black Keys. A friend from work and I have been listening to them, sharing their CDs back and forth back in the day. He never fails to send me a note and say, hey, new Black Keys album dropping today. That was a couple weeks ago. I've been cranking it ever since. Dropout Boogie, fantastic. It's not their best, but it's pretty great. Their best is still El Camino for me. All of the songs on El Camino are great. The best Black Keys song ever, and certainly one of my top 10 songs ever, is Little Black Submarines on El Camino. That's their 2011 album. I highly recommend just put that song on your best stereo with the biggest amplifiers and the biggest speakers, the most power, and crank the shit out of it. If it's in your car, great. If it's in your home, fine. Headphones, no problem. But it rocks. It starts off kind of slow and acoustic, and it's very melodic and very sweet. And then it kicks in into an electrical drumming, just fuzzy awesomeness. I love Little Black Submarines, my favorite Black Keys song. So no new song on Dropout Boogie can outdo Little Black Submarines for me. That's still the best. But check out the new album too. It's also great. And we're going to wrap this thing up with something stupid, which I tried this. I had an idea for a bit that I wanted to do, but I haven't really been doing comedy. I did it a couple weeks ago now for the first time really since like September of last year. I kind of just stopped doing comedy because of the Christmas Story, the musical, and Something Rotten. And I've only done it once. I did it once in between the shows back in the winter. Didn't really feel it. But somebody asked me to be on a showcase and show up and do some comedy. So I did. I did 10 minutes, and I included both jokes that I've told many, many times before, but this was to a new crowd that hadn't seen me tell them for the most part, and one brand new joke, which is not something I would typically do. Most comedians wouldn't do that. They would go to an open mic or a crowd that is not necessarily expecting top shelf comedy, but is okay with the idea of the comedian trying something new out. I didn't tell them it was going to be new. I just did it. I just dropped it into the middle of a 10-minute set just to see how it would do. And the crowd wasn't huge, but the people that were there, I got the reactions I was hoping for, which was some were a little kind of grossed out by it, but recognizing the truth in what I was saying and laughing. And there was some laughing involved, and that was cool. So back in the day, I used to go to church when I was with my wife and kids. We went to church every Saturday. And every 13th Sabbath, every 13th Saturday, we weren't Jewish, we were Seventh-day Adventists. Every 13th was like a big deal, kind of a Sabbath. It was the type of Sabbath where you you took a break from the service and you went down into separate rooms for men and women into the little Sabbath school area, and you got tubs of water and towels, and you washed each other's feet. You had a partner. You'd pair up with somebody, and then you would wash their feet, and they would wash your feet. And the first time I was told this was happening, I was, no, I'm not into that. I wasn't really into being there to begin with anyway. But once I had resigned myself to going to the church, I decided, well, I'll participate. So we get downstairs. I'm paired with a guy named Leonard, and very much an older gentleman, probably in his 70s at the time. And super nice guy. I love Leonard. He ran the soundboard, and I helped him run the soundboard. I got to run the soundboard at church. That kind of was my excitement at church. But I had to wash Leonard's feet, and he had to wash mine. Now, I went first, and I've never done this before in a religious setting or any other setting, is wash someone else's feet. And so Leonard takes his shoes and socks off. He puts his feet down, and I got a tub of water. And I didn't know. So I proceeded to really wash Leonard's feet. I mean, I was getting into the cracks. I was basically massaging his feet, like really rubbing it in there. I mean, there wasn't any dirt on his feet, but I thought there's some sock lint. I'll get that off. I'll dig into in between the toes. I was definitely looking for crud, spooge, whatever it is between his toes. And I got one foot done. I dried it off thoroughly, did the other feet. And I noticed everybody around me was actually already done with both pairs before we were done with just me washing Leonard's feet. I had no idea you were supposed to. It was kind of basically going. Most people went through the motions. Get the feet wet, tap it dry with the towel. You're done. Like, I didn't know. From that Sabbath on, every 13th Sabbath, people were lining up to be my foot washing partner. And every time their feet were a little bit dirtier. I mean, people were like, you got to go to Adam. He does the best foot washing job possible. And so I had a reputation. I was the best foot washer at Amicus Seventh-day Adventist Church. So you're welcome, people. I bet you'd be surprised to find out that an atheist was washing your feet so well. But I didn't know it back then either, so don't worry about it. I'm not sure where the joke is in that. It just kind of cracks me up that I was the best foot washer, even though I had zero interest in washing anybody's feet or being in church in the first place. But it is a bit of a humbling experience to wash somebody else's feet. I get why it's a little object lesson there. It's why they do it. It's a humility thing, and it's cool. I don't regret it. I'm glad I did it. That was something stupid. That's the show. 3 Things with JR over and out. See you next week. Happy Memorial Day.
People who love should always love people. People who care put their souls on the line. People of faith have something to live for. But people who hate are just wasting their lives.
Seriously, go check out What Makes This Song Stink on YouTube. Start with episode 1. You will not be sorry. Also, no, I'm not going to take appointments to wash your feet. You will have to do that yourself. Those days are gone. It's pretty good, though. People had clean feet at Amicus. See you next week.
Everybody say people who love should always love people. People who care put their souls on the line. People of faith have something to live for. But people who hate are just wasting